Today we're talking about turning all the different language learning tips out there into a clear system that you can actually follow. There are so many language learning tips out there on the internet. You hear new things each day, and most of the time it just ends up confusing you. That's why not every tip can be treated the same. You have to actually think about how the tips will help you and how they'll fit into your current routine. So first we're going to go through how to know if a language learning tip is good for you or not, and then we're going to look at how to actually turn those tips into a method that helps you reach your end goal. I'm Aiden, I love learning languages, and I investigate what makes real progress, and I share my findings with you guys. So let's get into today's question. How do you take all the language learning tips out there and turn them into a clear system? Tips are great, but here's the problem with them. A tip by itself is just information. It's not a system. And information without a system to plug it into gets you nowhere. So from now on, before you adopt any language learning tips, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Question 1, will this help me reach my goal specifically? Not, is this a good tip in general? Will this move you toward your goals? If your goal is to be able to have a conversation with your in-laws, a tip about memorizing 5,000 words for a translation exam won't really help you get there, no matter how good the tip is. Question 2, where in my life could I fit this tip in? If a tip is shadow native speakers for 15 minutes a day, don't just nod and move on. Actually picture it. Is it during your commute, while you make your coffee, while you're walking the dog? If you can't picture where it happens, it won't happen. And question 3, how can I combine this tip with what I'm already doing? This is the most important one. A flashcard habit attached to your morning coffee, a listening session during your gym warm-up. Tips that piggyback onto something you already do almost always survive. Tips that just float on their own almost always die within a week. Here's why this matters. Most people don't fail at language learning because they don't know enough. They fail because they're sitting on a pile of disconnected tips with no home for any of them. A collection of tools isn't a system, it's just clutter. And clutter doesn't produce progress, it just produces guilt. And this isn't just a gut feeling. This lines up with what we know about habit formation. Habits that attach to an existing routine stick dramatically better than habits that are just on their own. That's exactly what question 3 is forcing you to do. Give the tip an anchor so you don't have to rely on willpower to keep it going. So next time you hear a tip, maybe in a video, from a friend, or in a comment section, don't just save it and move on. Run it through these 3 questions. If it passes all 3, keep it. And if it doesn't, let it go. That's it. Okay, so now you know how to filter the noise and decide which tips actually deserve a place in your routine. But there's a second mistake that people make that kills your progress even more. And it has nothing to do with which tips you pick. It's about what you do or don't do every single day after you pick them. So let's get into it. Think about the gym for a second. Nobody walks in, does a workout plan for 2 weeks, gets bored, switches to a completely different plan, and ends up jacked. The people who actually transform their bodies are the people who pick one plan and grind it out for years, even on the days it's boring. And language learning works exactly the same way. Progress isn't built through collecting a lot of advice. It's built by sticking to one system long enough to actually see results. Jump methods every few weeks and you're not progressing. You're just restarting all over again. So the real question isn't what's the best method. It's what method could I stick with for a whole year? And here's my 5-point checklist to find out. 1, input is the main focus. Comprehensible input, listening and reading at your level, should be doing most of the heavy lifting in your learning. 2, it gets you speaking often. Not eventually gets you speaking, it gets you speaking regularly from early on. 3, it has a way to retain words. Some form of active recall, such as spaced repetition. In this way, vocabulary doesn't leak out as fast as it's going in. 4, you actually enjoy it. With this one, you need to be honest with yourself. If you dread the process, you won't do it on a tired Tuesday after work. And one skipped day can turn into a skipped week before you even know it. 5, it fits your real life, your actual schedule and your actual energy levels, not the fantasy version of your week. Something you could realistically repeat every single day. This is the piece that connects everything. You can filter your tips perfectly using the first technique, but if you don't put those tips into one consistent system, none of it actually works. Filtering tells you what to do, and consistency is what actually turns it into results. I've watched this play out over and over again. People jump from app to YouTube channel to app to a new miracle method, chasing the perfect system. And they made less progress after 6 months than someone who picked a plan that wasn't perfect, but that they could actually stick to. Consistency beats perfection every single time, Because language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. And there's really no way around that. There's people who accept it early on and people who learn it the hard way. So pause for a second and run your current method through those 5 points. If it checks those 5 boxes, stop searching for something better and just stick to it. And if it's missing 1 or 2, that's not a failure, that's actually useful information telling you what you need to improve on. And if everything we've covered today made you realize you don't actually have a clear system, you just have a collection of tips, I want to help you fix that directly. Here's the problem with almost everything out there. It's either a list of generic advice with no structure, or it's information overload that leaves you more confused on where to start than you were before. So I spent the last 6 months building something different. A 20-day, day-by-day framework that walks you through building your own personalized system from scratch. I'm not going to be handing you a one-size-fits-all method. I'm going to help you build the one that fits your goals, your schedule, and your life, using everything we covered today and a lot more. Every day for 20 days, you get a short video, an action to take, and a community post to keep you accountable. There's no guessing what to do next. You open it up, you do the thing, and then you move on to the next day. By day 20, you won't just understand the theory of it. You'll already be living inside the system you built with the habit already running. Now, the first cohort I'm doing is completely free, but I'm not just giving away 15 spots for nothing. In exchange for the free access, the only thing I ask is that you guys give me feedback as you go through the program. What's working, what's confusing, and what you change. That's it. That feedback is what helps you make it better for everyone who comes after you. So I want people in there who will engage and tell me the truth and not just sit silently. If that sounds like a fair trade to you, then there are only 15 spots and you can fill out the application in the description below. And I hope to see you in there. So let's bring this back to where we started. You don't have a knowledge problem, and you never did. You have a system problem, and now you've got the 2 things you need to fix it. First, stop collecting random advice and start filtering it. Run every tip through these 3 questions. Does it fit my goals? Where does it fit in my life? And what can I stack it onto? So you're not left holding a pile of things to do with no plan for doing this. Second, once you've filtered what's worth keeping, commit to it like you would a gym program. Pick a system that checks those 5 boxes and then protect it. Not by chasing the next better method every couple weeks, but by giving the one you're already using enough time to actually work. That's the whole shift. From collecting tips to building a system, and from switching methods to staying consistent. Do both of those things and the constant feeling of starting over just disappears. You're no longer guessing whether what you're doing is right. You know exactly what to do, why you're doing it, and that it's working because you gave it the time to prove it.